Welcome back. We're glad you're still with us. I know the late night TV competition is pretty fierce, so I appreciate you sticking by us.
Speaking of fierce competition, the Gators men's soccer team is going to finish the season on the road. I had a chance to sit down with captains Matt Peterson and Wes Witt to discuss how the Gators intend to wrap up the season with two of their key players on the bench. Welcome to the College Sports Report. I'm Matt De La Rosa, and joining us now in studio are men's soccer captains Wes Witt and Matt Peterson. Wes, Matt, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
So, guys, let's get started right off the bat. How has the season gone so far for the men's soccer team here at San Francisco State?
You know, it's been up and down. We started out the gate 3-1, and it's been basically 500 ever since. We stand at 7-2 right now. Still an outside shot at a playoff spot, but you know, guys have played hard all season. It's obviously a tough conference, but I'm proud of the way the guys have battled, and you know, we've done some good things this season. What do you think?
I'd agree completely with what PD has said. We've hit some rough spots. We've had some injuries, but we've had guys who weren't expecting to see time this year who've came up and stepped up and filled the roles that they've had to fill. And we've had great team chemistry all year and great team growing.
Wes, talking about injuries, you yourself suffered an injury, a hernia, put you out for the season. You're still a captain on the team and very involved. Being on the bench, what do you have to do to keep the team motivated as a captain?
You keep pushing them, keep staying with them. I'm down there every practice, like just with the coaches doing everything. I'm involved with everything. I'm picking things up. I'm setting things up, and I'm constantly giving people, pulling them aside, talking to them, because being on the sideline, you get to see things a lot more than being right there in the action. You get to slow it down a little bit, and I try to just help out the new guys, and because, you know, the new guys get, you know, they lose their run of play a little bit, and they need a little bit of pick-me-up, and nothing's better than a teammate picking you up, so that's what I try to do as much as possible. And I also, me personally, I travel to all the road games with them and try to support them as much as possible also.
Matt, Wes is out. Dylan Glass is also out leading scorer. Wes is our second leading scorer. As another captain and senior on the team, how do you keep the guys up for that, knowing that two of your biggest guns are down?
Yeah, well, you know, guys aren't stupid. They know our two big guns are out. But, you know, they got to realize there's just 4 games left. You got to play it out, and you got to play with your backs against the wall. Wes has been there, and Dylan, they're on the sideline, you know, getting our backs, trying to motivate us also during the games. And I think it's a big motivator just seeing them on the sidelines, knowing that they're two of the hardest working players in practice, and to see them on the sidelines unable to play, you know how bad they want to get out there. So it's kind of like a collective agreement that we all got to pick it up and raise our level for them and for the other injured guys. But, you know, just don't say too much. You can't make it too big of an issue because that's kind of, you know, disrespectful to the other guys trying to play up front, trying to score goals. But, you know, it's all in the back of our minds, but we know there's other guys we know that can perform and get the job done, and we're counting on them these last 4 games.
Wes mentioned that some of the other guys have stepped up. Who are those guys that have stepped up and filled the roles for Wes Witt and Dylan Glass?
Well, Casey's come on strong here the last few games. He got it started in the Chico game, get on the board, and he's played with a lot of fire those last few practices and the last few games. I think, you know, other guys have stepped it up throughout the course of the season that maybe we weren't necessarily counting on before the season. I think Israel Cisneros in goal. He maybe didn't have a spot on the team coming in, and he earned that spot and became the starting goalkeeper. Josh Kalouris is a freshman center back, and he's performed well all season. And we'll still wait and see who steps up these last 4 games, you know, all over the field. What do you think?
I think one big popular one that we got to address also would be Kevin Gillette. Came in last year playing maybe 5-10 minutes, and this year he's earned a starting role in the center mid as one of our hardest working players, and he's done great all year. So,
talking a lot about guys that are filling roles, young talent. Wes, you yourself are a sophomore. Dylan's a sophomore. We have Franco Cruz. He's a freshman. There's a good nucleus of young talent coming back for next season. Matt, unfortunately, we're not going to have you back. You're a senior. But Wes, having these young guys back to fill some of the roles that Casey Poston and Matt Peterson are leaving, what is the future like for men's soccer at San Francisco State?
I think the future is very high. You can tell already by the mentality on campus. When I first came here last year, no one even really addressed the sports programs here, and now people are constantly saying, you're on the soccer team, when's your next game? People are talking about the flyers that are around. Just the atmosphere has grown, and we have a great young talent. Our seniors are big time, but then there's a huge gap to just sophomore and freshman where you got 3 years of building right there of a good program. This year we might make playoffs. If not, we'll be a winning team. And next year we'll just try to better the record from there. And you go a little bit farther forward, we're in the playoffs right away.
Matt, you yourself have been here for 4 years. What has the attitude change been like here at San Francisco State when it comes to athletics?
I think from top to bottom, starting with the student body, passing the referendum vote, and being willing to, foot the bill, so to speak, for the athletic department when the state cut off the money. It started with that, and they made it kind of investment in the student athletes, and then top to bottom, starting with Joe Danahy and the SID. The trainers, Mike Simpson, and all the coaches, it kind of gave us a kind of little boost once that referendum passed, and everyone's, wants to make the students happy now and say, hey, we're putting your money to good use. We want to give you results, represent the school well. And, I think top to bottom, I think Wes is dead on. There's a great group of players returning next season, and from what I hear, recruiting's going well. And I'm confident that with the guys coming back in the spring, when the recruits come out, they're going to see how hard these guys work, how well these guys play, and the cohesiveness we've created with this team, and they're going to want to play here. So hopefully this program has only upwards to go.
Now, the last 4 games here on the season coming up all on the road. As captains, how do you guys lead the team to victory in these last 4 games?
I think by example. That's one thing I've tried to work on this year, is by example. Sometimes I can be very vocal out there, and maybe I'm not holding up my end of the bargain. I'm telling guys to work hard or make a trap, and I scuff a ball myself. So I really want these last 4 games to lead by example, and just leave it on the field, and hopefully the other guys will see how bad we want it and follow. And keep it simple, and just let them know that it's simple. 4 games left, play our butts off the rest of the way, and hopefully the results will take care of themselves.
Wes, really quickly, what do you think the men are going to do here wrapping up the season?
I think they'll do wonderful. They'll do great. They got a lot of motivation, a little chip on their shoulder from the past couple results. We haven't got the results going our way, even though I think we might have deserved it. So there's a lot of motivation on our way, and if you look at our record, we are strong on the road. We are.
Matt, Wes, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
No problem. It was a lot of fun.
The SF State men's soccer team entered last Friday's game as the 5th-place team in the CCAA standings. Cal Poly Pomona stands in their way, sitting in the 4th and final playoff spot. Now to the field on this wet and rainy day in San Francisco. Both teams could not get any offense going. It was just too slippery and too wet to complete any passes or take any shots of any kind that mattered. They just couldn't get it going. The refs decided to call the game before going to overtime. 0-0 would be the final score on this very wet and rainy day. The tie gave San Francisco State and Cal Poly Pomona 1 point each in the CCAA standings, keeping Cal Poly 4 points ahead of the Gators for the 4th and final playoff spot.
Coming up after the break, we have the highlights you've been waiting for. That's right, CCSF Rams taking on Feather River, so stay tuned. We got more on CSR.